Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin on a dark, cloudy morning in Seattle, Washington. So, thank you for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about a tough subject very briefly on saying goodbye to our animal family members. And I will talk about it more this afternoon on my radio show at ohmtimes.com radio, The Practical Intuitive. But for today, I just want to introduce the subject, give you a story, give you some ideas about what to look for when we're thinking about the end of our animal family's lives. I know it's a tough one. I've been there many times, and I know it's a subject that is close to all of us. So again, thank you for joining me today. It's Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. We're doing a slightly different format today. I want to start with a quick grounding and balancing with a particular crystal that I love to use, and then we'll jump into the subject. We will have an opportunity to just share back and forth questions that you might have on this subject as I get into the story, and then a crystal of the week. So usually I open with the crystal Fallon, but today I wanted to open with columbite, which is a crystal that I very often use. In fact, I use all the time with my clients. First crystal that I work with, it's grounding and protection. And I believe, for me personally, it's the most powerful grounding and protection crystal I've used, even better than obsidian or jet. So you're welcome to just take a good look at it. It looks, it's always kind of which direction you go. It looks like an opening rose. So imagine holding this in the palm of your hand. It's very small, but it's heavy. It's like an ore. It's like Tektite. And if you take a deep breath, and we're thinking about this subject of connecting with our animal families and what happens when it's getting time to say goodbye. Hi, Vicki. Thanks for joining me. This is really going to help get you grounded and balanced in the space with us today. So imagine connecting with it. And if you take your attention to, thank you, I am. Take your attention to the top of your head. Just breathe down your body and imagine inviting the grounding and balancing of this crystal to join with you. And as you breathe down from top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just feel yourself relaxing in your chair. I love this crystal. So breathe down from the top of your head, down your body, all the way to your feet. Let it clear out all of the things that are just in your mind, body, and spirit today so that you can just be here with us. And now as you breathe up from the bottom of your feet, just let that line of energy and that grounding and balancing just settle deep. So most people feel a heaviness or just a relaxing with this crystal. Hi, and thank you, Diana, and thank all of you for joining me today. And hello, I see your questions pop up or your just hellos, and I really appreciate it. So today I want to talk briefly about the process of saying goodbye to our animals. I will be covering this in much more detail this afternoon in my radio show. It's at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern time, and that's U.S. time, ohmtimes.com radio, and it's on animals, euthanasia, and saying goodbye. It's stories from my practice and what I call a happiness talk, which I facilitate with my clients as we're getting to that. So pop up your questions here. I'm going to pop in and figure out where they are here as we get into this subject today. But I know it's a tough one. And I know that those of us, and there are many of us who consider animals our family members, we know that it's tough in our hearts. Hello, and thank you all for joining me. It's tough in our hearts because we know that most of the time it's going to be saying goodbye to them at some point because their lives are just shorter than ours. It's hard because they are family members. And I know when you're thinking about that, oh, Shelley, good. I'm so glad this is helping. I think it will help you today. So I'm so glad that you're here. We love those guys. And it's hard. And the big question is it time? And how can we know if it's time? And there are many, many things to think about. And I can't cover all of those in a Facebook Live, but I can tell you a story that will get you thinking about your situation and the situations that you've had before. And one thing right before I tell you this story is in my experience with my own animals and with my client animals, because as an intuitive and spiritual consultant, one of the things I do is animal communication. So I can help you talk with your animals and tell you what they're thinking and feeling. Most animals are very aware that their time is coming, that it's maybe coming rapidly, and they want you to know that they're aware of it. And of course, caught up in the moment, caught up in declining health, caught up in all kinds of situations, it's hard to know where our emotions let off and where we're actually connecting with our animals. And so know that even if it's an emergency and you're not there, they're still connected to you. They're still tuned into you, even if you're not really right there with them. And so let me just tell you this story. And then I want to go back through your comments here and see how I can address them. So sometimes a sick animal tells me it wants to die. And then the question is, does it really? And sometimes they're just confused about what's going on. Sometimes they're really sick and they can't get through to their people that they're feeling sick, and they're scared just like we are when we're sick, and they're hurting, and they're like, they need you to tell them, okay, you're sick or you're injured or you're not going to die, but this is the situation. You've hurt your leg and you need treatment, you need medicine, and it's going to get better in a few weeks. That's the kind of thing that if your animal isn't ready to die and the situation isn't at the end of its life, that just talking out loud to them, telling them what's going on, will reassure them as it reassures you. Because trust me, even if you don't think that they can hear you or that you can communicate with your animals, you can. They're hearing you. They're responding to you. So let me tell you the story. I had a client some years ago. Her dog had cancer. Her dog was dying, and it was pretty miserable for her and for the dog. But there was a relationship between them, almost like a support animal or a therapy dog, or even a dog for handicapped people. And so there was that close relationship. And even though the dog wasn't a formal service animal, it worked that way with this woman. It was largely emotional support, but they were also very, very close. And she was very upset because, hello, Sadie, thanks for joining us. This woman was very upset because the dog was really at the end, it was having a really miserable death from cancer, as can happen. And she just didn't want to let the dog go, and the dog didn't want to go. The dog was fighting it. And so, you know, when we're fighting something, we can put up all our resistance. So she asked me to talk with the dog. And I went in on a separate, I hung up and I was just talking with the dog. And the dog was absolutely, completely distraught. And it was like, I can't die, I can't die, I can't die. I need to take care of her. She's not going to be okay without me. I need to live. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Let's just talk about it. Tell me what's going on with you. I'm so sorry that you're sick. And, you know, what's the deal? What's going on with you? Tell me how you're feeling. Well, here's the thing. This is why you need to really dig deep when you're facing a crisis with an animal family member. This dog was absolutely beside itself, did not want to die because he thought that he had accidentally killed himself. And I'm like, well, tell me why you think that. What's going on? Well, something sharp. He was telling me that he ate something sharp and it hurt him really badly, and that was why he was dying. And he was so stupid. He was so negligent. He had accidentally killed himself. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to accidentally have killed himself. What could he do? What could he do? What could he do? And I said, I'm so sorry. Oh, sorry. I forgot to unplug my phone. There we go. Hang on. So I said, well, slow down. Tell me what happened. What do you mean you ate something sharp? And he said, well, I ate something sharp and now it's killing me. And I said, okay, let me tell you. I am so sorry you ate something sharp that hurt you. And it sounds like it hurt you an awful lot and you were in a lot of pain. But let me tell you, that is not the reason why you are dying. You have an illness that no one can fix for you. It's just not possible. The illness is not your fault. There is nothing that you did that made this illness happen. It happened. And you're dying from the illness, not from what you ate. And the dog was like, really? And I said, really? And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but you are at the end of your life. But it's okay because it's nothing that you did to yourself. And he goes, oh, he says, oh, I feel so much better. Thank you so much. And I said, does that help relax you? Are you understanding now? And he goes, yes, I understand. I'm going to miss her. I'm so sorry that I'm dying, but I know now that it's not my fault. And it's okay. I am so miserable. It's okay to say goodbye. So I reassured this beautiful dog and I said, I'm sorry, take care, goodbye, and I will talk to your people. And see, I'm already still teary, and this was years ago. And I called the owner and I said, here's the thing. Your dog feels like he accidentally killed himself because he ate something sharp. And I explained to him, no, that whatever he ate didn't kill him, that it was an illness, that there was nothing that anyone could do for him but help him out. And once he realized that, he was okay with it. And now he's ready. Well, she started crying. She said, oh my gosh, there's something sharp. Well, it turned out that several weeks before, they had been in a park and some negligent picnicker had dropped a bottle of peanut butter, a glass jar of peanut butter. It had broken and the dog was like, oh my God, a great treat, and gobbled it up, glass shards and all, had cut up his mouth all the way through his gut. And that's what the dog was relating to. Did not understand that he had cancer. He thought that gobbling the peanut butter and all that glass is what had killed him. So I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to talk to him and explain, no, it wasn't you. That was a terrible accident, and we're sorry that it happened. And I was grateful that I had the opportunity to share that story with his person, because she could say, oh my God, no, that wasn't it. And then I could understand what it was that happened, because all I knew was that he'd eaten something sharp and it was extremely painful all the way down. So that's just an example of how an animal communicator or you yourself can dig deep to the situation that's going on with a dying animal and help relieve their minds at the end of their lives, when there's nothing left that you can do but help them out. And that dog was relaxed. He immediately quit fighting, and immediately his death came very quickly, and he died the next day with their help. And I think at that point, that was a situation where I could help them create peace. So how do you create peace in your situation? Just be really careful. If something big like that had happened, but that's not what's killing them, let them know. Just explain to them why they're dying, that you have this terrible illness and we can't solve it anymore. And we know that you're in terrible pain. And so let us help you out. And they will understand that, and most of the time be grateful for that. All they really need to do is have that explained to them. So let me go through, see if I can find the questions here. So Jocelyn, I hope that's how you say your name. Yes, I am so sorry. It is so painful to lose our beloved animals. And it is good, and good for you that you're remembering his birthday and the day of his passing. Yes, And it does hurt. And you know why it hurts is because you and all of us allowed ourselves to love another being that we knew had a shorter lifespan than us, but we allowed ourselves to love full out. And we come into bodies to grow our souls. I say this all the time. And I also say all the time, we are all naturally intuitives and healers. And we're using all of those skills, all of our natural empathy, everything when we devote ourselves to our animal families and when we love them like family members. So yes, it hurts. But the great joy of having them in our lives balances that out, and we remember that. And I encourage you to remember your animals on the birthdays, on the anniversaries of their passing, all of those days, adoption days too, I call it, because that's part of life. And if we choose to love, that's also part of growing our souls. And it's tough. It is not easy, but love is so worth it. So, Shelley, yes, their souls come back over and over again. A lot of times. My animals are all reincarnations. They reincarnated before I even knew that was possible or that it was happening. And thank goodness that we don't need to know that all the time, because they're just doing it. And it's happening more and more. And I don't know if it's happening more and more because we're at this certain period in the growth of our planet and our own lives, or if it always happened and we were just more aware of it in the past. And my animals frequently tell me, oh, we just knew it more often back then, and now humans are just preoccupied with all of the technology and everything going around us. So yes, reincarnation happens a lot of times. Please tune in to my radio show, The Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. This afternoon at 2, we're going to talk more about this subject. But if you go back through the archives, you'll see shows where I talk about reincarnation. Happens all the time. Judith, yes, 15 years. Yes, and that's the thing, Judith, and all of those of you here who have adopted new animals. My 3 that I lost in 2012, 2014, and 2016, I thought, this is my perfect family. And boom, 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 they were gone. And now I have a new family. My dog is a reincarnation of a previous dog. My cat is a reincarnation of my cat who died in 2016. So they had things that they needed to do, and they wanted to come back and do them with me. And it's an honor for me. And it happens. So yes, they do come back. And we do create new lives with them. And it's been interesting for me watching me and this new dog and this new cat create a new life together. I do know who they were. They know who they were in previous bodies, but it's the bodies right now, their lives right now that we're involved in and we're caught up in. So love them in their new bodies, even love the new souls that come back to us. Shelley, yes, they find us. I have an ebook out on that called Finding Oliver. If you go to my website, robinfritz.com, you can find that ebook. You need to find it really quickly because I have to take it down and take it off the market here in the next few weeks. But it will also be in my upcoming book on the afterlife. So, and I've talked about it a lot. And sometimes my animals announce themselves, and then I had to find a breeder and send them to the breeder and then explain to the breeder what I was doing. And oh my gosh, talk about blowing up people's minds. And my cat didn't tell me she was coming back. She told me she wasn't. So it's fun. But sometimes people are just walking down the street and they look down and they see a box of kittens and go, oh, good, look who's back. So yes. That's another subject I'm going to get into. I have covered in previous shows. You have to spend some time at what I call magnetizing, and I've covered that in the previous Facebook Live. So you look back here at the Humanity Healing video page, and you'll see that, and you'll see it on previous shows. So it's quite the thing. Yes, they can. Joan, what an excellent question. Can dogs that pass communicate with us like spirits? I think my dog sent me a message. Yes. Understand that souls are souls. They choose the bodies they need to do their next work in. So they may choose an animal body or a human body or whatever. My animals and I have been reincarnating together for centuries, and we've done it in human and animal bodies. So our block is to understand that just because an animal is an animal doesn't mean it can't be something else, because it's the soul that's creating the choice in the afterlife of what it wants to do next, and the body that it needs to do that job in. And that's why my dog and my cat came back as dogs and cats, because those were the bodies they wanted. And they wanted to be with me, and it was also partly what I wanted. I wanted a Russian blue cat. I wanted another Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and boom, they jumped right back in. But yes, because they're souls, okay, yes, they can communicate with us, and they do it an awful lot. They'll show up in your dreams. Sometimes you'll feel them curling up on your bed. It is awesome. So know that that soul connection that you have does continue after death. The only difference is, of course, you don't have those wonderful bodies to hold. And how can you, I was a question, I missed the, let me go back here. How can I know that your cat is a reincarnation? And she ate something that died. Yeah. Well, Kate, no, and Kate, that's a great thing that you're saying here. You never get over the loss of a beloved animal. You just need to keep moving on, as we all do. And and move on and find another animal to love. Sometimes it may be that animal back again because they look like a previous animal, or because they have some personality characteristics. Does not mean that soul has come back again. It could be, but it doesn't necessarily. But if you're feeling connected to that animal, great, go for it. It may be a new soul you're meeting. It may be an old one. I have friends that have no problems just taking whatever animal shows up. And I'm now so aware that my animals keep coming back to me, that when I thought I was adopting a cat who was a new soul, I was like, oh my gosh, what's that going to be like? Because you know what? Love wills out. Love triumphs over everything. New souls are old souls. And so why would a wild cat in another country where you've never been before walk straight up to you because they've known you all your life and stayed? Well, Brigida, I hope that's how to say your name. It could be that that cat did know you in a previous lifetime, because I have not met anyone who is what they call a new soul. I think we've all been around many times before, at least a few times, and we've been popping up in different countries all the time. I remember previous lifetimes as in my own lifetime in Africa and the Middle East and Europe. So I can imagine that we've all done that. And so it could be that this animal knew you in a previous lifetime. But here's the other thing, and for Brigida and everyone else, when we walk around in the world, our essence is out there and available. And if you're a person who loves animals, or is open to new experiences, open to animals or whatever, that inviting energy that you have could very well attract them to be interested in you. When I was years ago with friends going to a zoo, all the giraffes in the giraffe enclosure just came up and stared at me. And then as I walked along, they followed me. What is that? Partly it's your inviting energy. Maybe it's past life. But think about this. When we're here growing our souls and we're just radiating out love, and in this community that Om Times has created for us, we're radiating love all the time, right? We're love and connection, and animals respond to that. So they could be responding to the beauty of your personal energy field and the beauty of your soul. Isn't that awesome? So I'm sorry, I'm running out of time here. I promise to try to go back today or in the next few days to answer questions that are on here. And we're going to come back and talk about animals more in the coming weeks, because I know how important that is to a lot of people. But I wanted to jump quickly to the crystal of the week here. to help all of you on this subject, and again, I'm going back to amethyst, which I've covered before. Amethyst is a great crystal if you're grieving or if you're with an animal and it's nearing their time, because it has a soft, gentle energy. It helps support your animal and you during that grieving process of letting go of the body. It helps soothe the mind and the spirit. And yes, Zelda, perfect. Yes, animals grieve just like we do. So do the same thing for them that you do for yourself. You can put amethyst around your grieving animals. I always recommend sea salt in bowls around the house, because sea salt is a traditional clearing tool or support, and it will help keep the energies moving. And grief is a stagnating kind of energy, and it needs to keep moving through. So salt around the house, telling your surviving animals what happened, that their beloved has died and it's out of its body, and because it's most likely visiting, and will visit them and you, and your surviving animals will be aware that they're there in spirit, so that can be confusing. So just explain to the animals what's happening and what happened and why it happened, and tell them they're safe, that they're not going to die just because their beloved died. So try all those and see what happens. But again, try, William, yes, I know. Try amethyst around you and around them. It really helps promote decision making, so you and your animal will know when it's time. It helps with grief. It's healing and soothing and calms the mind. Amethyst is a very soft crystal, so also support them with some stones that are good for grounding and protection. A lot of people like black tourmaline. Plain quartz is also really great for that. So, William, what if you had a turtle and a turkey? Well, they choose whatever they want to do next. I don't know what my animals are up to next. And the soul that's in my dog bodies is a very ancient and crafty soul. And it's in so many different bodies that I've just gotten used to it popping in and telling me about what it's doing in another body somewhere else. And it's just like blows my mind all the time. So again, I'm going to try to go back through here and answer questions. But please email me at my website, robynfritz.com. That's ROBYNFRITZ.com. If you have any questions, or put some questions in here, and I will try to jot them down and get back to you in future episodes. You can also tag me here on Facebook at the Practical Intuitive Robyn M. Fritz. But please join me at my radio show this afternoon at oldtimes.com, the Practical Intuitive, 2 Pacific Time, 5 Eastern. You're welcome to email questions that you'd like me to cover in the show. If you're shy about coming on, you're also welcome to call in and ask some questions. I try not to talk to the dead, human or animal, on my radio show, because for me that's very sacred and I try to keep that private. But oftentimes I can share stories later. And I want to thank all of you for joining me here today. And if you're enjoying these broadcasts, please like the Humanity Healing page, the Om Times Institute page, the Om Times Magazine page, and also like my Facebook page, The Practical Intuitive, because that helps us continue to help you. We're all here because the Om Times people have done such a wonderful job of creating community here for all of us, and I want to thank them here. I am not going to be here for the next few weeks. I basically taking some vacation time and recuperating from another upcoming surgery, the last one. And I just need some time off. But you can contact me on Facebook or at my website if you have questions. I'm available for consultations, personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, space clearing, and also past life and between life regression, and a process I call soul progression clearing. So I will join you later in July, and let's all take some time this summer to relax, recuperate, say goodbye to our beloved, say hello to their souls in the afterlife, and continue to be part of this amazing community. And now, as we clear out today, I'd like you to cross your hands on your heart and just breathe in healthy, positive energy. And as you do that, just imagine that healthy energy is coming into you, getting you grounded and balanced back into your body so that you can go about the rest of your day, and also sending healing energy to all of us here in the community. Blow into your hands. Just feel that breath on your palms and imagine it as energy, and then cross again on your heart. Grounded and balanced. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you later in July. Take care and God bless.